Okay, hello everybody, and welcome to your week ahead energy reading. What a week it's been. I've actually just meditated and then had to clear the energy again. The energy feels heavy and dense, is what I'm going to say. I had so much come through in my meditation that I want to share, but I just want to speak a little bit about the week that's just been. So much has happened. And I think back to not even just last week's energy reading, but the last few weeks, and how really so many of those themes that we've discussed within these energy readings have erupted this week is the best way to describe it. Even just last week's themes around truth and the shifting of love. When I was doing that reading last week, it felt really us level, didn't it? I feel like there was a bit that came through collective level, but it wasn't until we moved through that weekend that it hit me how much that shift in how we connect with each other, the oneness piece, and that shift of what love actually is and how it is expressed really came into being with, the beautiful acts of people rising up in love, in oneness, and saying no more. Those boundaries piece, and even I don't know how many weeks ago this was, but this idea of this rising of that divine mother kind of love, and standing up and saying we are all one, we are all one's children. And again, like that, I shared this in my video on Instagram on Monday, I think it was, that unconditional, deep, protective love that a parent feels for their child, starting to feel that love for each other and stand in that love and stand up and say no more. And yes, I know that has brought about a lot of chaos over the course of the week, and I do feel there's more of that to come. Chills as I say that. But it is this really big moment of remembering, of a very big collective awakening. As I came in to do my meditation which I do before recording this reading, my elephant crystal, which is Caribbean calcite, I think it is, wanted to be out with me today. It usually is in the room anyway, because many of you will know that one of my guides, my Reiki guide, is actually an elephant. And so that's a crystal that's very important to me, but I've just meditated with it. And, these themes around just suffering, possibly suffering, which we're seeing on the collective level right now. But actually what I wanted to say just then was softening and surrendering to the knowledge, to the knowing that what is happening right now is for our best and highest good. Gosh, there's so many emotions coming through right now. There's so much, there's so much pain and suffering and heartache happening in the world that it's really hard to soften and surrender into that trust, into that knowing, and even into that place of love for all right now, and not see the other side of all of these divisions that are so evident in our society right now as other. I've got Palo Santo on my nose. As other, really standing in that place of love being a force, love being something that we can truly change the world with, and moving away from this division. I've got more on that I want to share. But with regards to the elephant, one of the first messages that came through was this idea of we never forget. We're remembering. We're remembering all of this. We're remembering our original blueprint. And part of that, and a theme that's been coming up for me really big this week, and I think I'm actually going to record a podcast episode on this today, is it's related to the stories that we exist within, the structures that we exist within, and we're starting to remember the truth. And realize that how we've been existing within this life no longer serves us, but also possibly never did serve us. It is this, again, remembering of the original blueprint. I really strongly feel there's some past life integration happening for us at the moment that is helping us to remember that we have lived all sides and all versions of these stories over our past lives. These stories that have created division, boundaries, structures that we now exist within. And as we pull in those past life rememberings, we can no longer exist on one side of all of that because we have been on all sides. And so rather than us existing within structures or frameworks or stories that keep us separate from each other, it's a recognizing of each other on all sides of these things that divide us. And a remembering and an awakening to why these things exist in the first place. And they're not to keep us safe. They're not to keep us any of the things that we've been told that these structures and divisions and whatever do for us. We're going to start to remember and recognize that these things are not for our best and highest good, and all they have done is control us and provide power, wealth, security to this top tier that are trying to control all of us, really. And that includes the events that we're seeing play out right now. So as we do this remembering, another thing that came through really strongly for me is we're going to start to recognize patterns within our reality. And I think this could be historical patterns, both in terms of our known history, but also some of these past life historical patterns might start to come in for us and us to recognize we've been here before. Do we need to make a different choice this time? We're going to start to recognize patterns in our behaviors and others' behaviors around us much more clearly, which will help us navigate the world from a much more centered place. And another piece of this was as a result of recognizing these patterns and being more in tune with kind of the world around us, we're going to start to recognize the glitches in the matrix, like where things happen that don't make sense, or the synchronicities, and all of these things that just help us recognize that there's more to this existence than what meets the eye, than what we've been told. And all of this remembering, this recognition of patterns, this connection with each other, and meeting each other in that from that place of oneness and love is going to continue to tribute to this rise up energy. And the term that came to mind during the meditation is bubbling to the surface. And I think in today's reading, I'm going to do a few levels of reading. This is likely going to be a long one. I'll start with us individually, the collective kind of energy and how we might expect this energy to play out for us this week. But I do want to look at kind of the global stage events that are happening right now. As I sit down to record this, there has been bombing happening over in the Middle East. Well, has been that for some time, hasn't there? But direct targeting of another country. And again, so I want to tap into that because I do feel really strongly that there's something happening in global event kind of space, almost that piece from, again, the other week of an event that stops the world. I feel like the energy's primed for that right now. I've been noticing my matches on my table. It's like it's going to take one flick of that match and this is all going to, it's all going to explode. So I do want to tap into that, and then the earth herself as well, with that bubbling to the surface. I also really clearly heard Sri Lanka. So I'm going to come back and tap into the earth herself, and something about the elephants in Sri Lanka as well. So we'll go there and see what that was. A lot of red kind of energy, which for us as individuals could speak to our root chakra, our sense of security, safety, home. Some volcano type energy, which isn't surprising. That's been going on for weeks now, and that possibly is continuing to bubble to the surface. But with that rise up energy, that real heart-centered remembering oneness, it's us continuing to step into our truth, to step into this love, and to take back our power. I was interrupted in my meditation, and as a result of that phone call, and then what I saw on my phone once I got off that phone call, there was something about a call. This could be a physical call for you. This could be a calling of your soul right now, but there's something about the call and the path to what is calling for you being unclear or closed off, possibly. Like, there might be a detour happening. You might think, I feel like we spoke about this last week too. You might think that the calling is over here, and that's the direction you're heading, but it's like the path is no longer clear of where that calling is leading you, and there may actually be a detour put in place. Two other images that came through in quick succession was a dove, which I got peace around, and then immediately saw the devil card, so it was dove versus devil kind of energy, peace versus war, but also deceit versus intuition, a real need right now and moving forward. Actually, I think this is going to stick around, that concept that I and many others have been talking about for so long, about how important it is going to be in tune with your intuition. As I say this, it's like this AI boom that is happening is going to make it really hard for us to work out what is real, what comes through our external sources of information, for us to tease apart what is true, what is not true, both in terms of images and visuals that we might see, but also in narratives that we are continue to be told, which is the next piece actually. But yeah, is narratives, see through the lies, the stories, the narratives, is all coming back to us needing to tap into our intuition. I saw the Seven of Cups, Seven of Swords, confusion and deceit. So we really, really need to stay grounded in our own energy. And as more and more people start to see through this, it is this really big shift and big awakening. And it's almost like this unraveling of all of these stories that we've held on to for safety and security. And I'm noticing this even within my life this week. And I was really thinking about this yesterday around how challenging it is going to be to start your awakening journey right now. I've been doing this work for over a year now of awakening to the systems and structures and stories that I have existed within, and opening myself up to alternate possibilities, multiple truths, all of this, and surrendering to that space of the unknown, the unclear. But this energy for that, like this unraveling energy, has really ramped up big time. There will be some people that stay in there not seeing it, believing what they're being told, but continuing to fight for what we've been told to fight for. But many people right now aren't going to be able to hide themselves from the truth anymore. And what's coming through as I say this is they're going to need us. For those of us that have already been on this journey right now, the people that are going to have them, it feels, honestly, it feels terrifying to have, again, so much emotion coming up, like to have all of these things that we've cloaked ourselves in to keep ourselves safe, that we've been told keep us safe, all start to unravel at once. And this like huge wake up of what's even real, what's even true, what even is safe anymore, what do I trust, what do I believe, for people that aren't necessarily in tune with their intuition to even be able to come back to that, to navigate that. Yeah, there's a lot there. And I remember a reading from months ago now of like the stages of people and how we were supporting each other through the journey. It's like that's on a whole nother scale right now. And there is a real split in the timeline, but a lot more people moving on this path of awakening and ascension, but through really challenging circumstances. A lot of fire energy. I mentioned the matches already. And yeah, as I've already said, I do get the sense that there's a lot. It's going to be another really big week of events that make us question, pull back the layers, and really start to sit with not only what is true for us, but what do we want to be true? No, that's the wrong way to phrase it. As the tower cards just come in, like as this all crumbles down, and it really does feel like it all crumbles down, what do we want to rebuild? What is that call? And that might be why the path is now unclear, because maybe some of that path and those ideas were still grounded in some of these things that are now unraveling. And so we're actually needing to sit with, I mean, for me this week, that theme of love from last week is continued to unravel for me into a completely new concept around what love is, how it is expressed, how it is received, all of that. Like we're shifting. Even concepts that felt just so natural to us are shifting. And as those foundational pieces of our life shift in expression, the structures that have relied upon them can no longer exist in the same expression. And that's just one example. So yeah, it's like with these new concepts of what these foundational things are, that might be security, it might be love, it might be expression, it might be intuition and spirituality, even knowledge and truth. It's almost like the foundations of the tarot are all unraveling themselves in what this actually means. And as that unravels, all of the systems and structures that have been built upon the expressions of those that we currently exist in collapse and crumble underneath us. I almost don't need cards today, do I? And that's why the path is so unclear, because it's like, actually what I thought this might look like in this new earth that we're heading to can no longer look like that, because this has changed. This foundational piece has changed. And so now we need to sit with these new, much more fluid concepts of things and go, how do we express that fluidity concept into something that is supportive and beneficial to all? All right, I better stop. And we'll move into some cards. As I said, this is going to be a long one. I don't think I want to break it up into separate videos, because I think there will be themes that flow throughout for those of you that want to watch all three areas, but I will try and put some timestamps in. We're going to start, as we always do, with some oracle cards. Start with sacred symbols, but I'm also noticing my archetype step, which I think also will want to play a part. Spiritual cleansing. New moon in Cancer coming up. We just had the full moon in Sagittarius the other day. New life. That was in another reading that I saw this morning as well. New moon, new life, spiritual cleansing. Spiritual cleansing back. Time. It's time. It's back again. And I actually had dropped some, so it wasn't actually on the bottom, just from shuffling. Spiritual cleansing is big. And I don't know if I mentioned this at the start of the video. I think I might have soulmates there again too. I had cleansed my space before my meditation, but after my meditation, I felt like I needed to do that again, which is why I had the Palo Santo on my nose. Might be really important to be mindful of energetic attachments this week and to release them. Truth. Okay, Spirit. What do we need to know? Mind, Body, Soul Transformation Collective. Messages that are of the light for the best and highest good. Thank you. What do we need to know for the week ahead? We need to know. Again, I'm hearing remembering in my head. What do we need to know, Spirit? I don't think there's a remembering card in this deck, but that's what I'm hearing. What do I need to know? Too many, way too many. Courage at the bottom. We've got home, trust, past life, water, and affluence. But I am going to go back to the deck one more time. As I was saying, what do we need to know? What was coming through for me is what I just said. New moon's back again. About feeling like I didn't need cards today. So maybe that is a message, but we'll see. Do you have a message for us, Spirit? Thank you. Healer. I think we got 4 cards. One fell on the floor. Courage came back at heart. So we've got Earth, a number 11 card. Truth, 25 card. Courage again, which is a 37. And I'll just grab this one on the floor. 25, 25 on the timer. Shadow. And Healer. So because I saw 25, 25 on the timer, this Truth card does feel particularly strong. I think there's lots coming through here already. And some of it's just repetition of what I had come through in this message. We've got Healer and the Shadow. So we are healing the shadow parts of us right now. And that is on the individual and collective level. The shadows are really, it's like this last pendulum swing. And I actually don't mean that we're all swinging that way, but it's like this last hurrah of the shadow on the collective level is what's at play this week. And I actually got that with the Dove versus Devil energy, peace versus war. And I had this coming through yesterday as well for me. It's like there's so much awakening and rising of the light and our own healing of the shadow within us. And this rise up, this stand for love, this stand for peace. It's like this group, particularly this group, but also the people that are still actually controlled and not awake yet by that group. Honestly, I think are going to do some pretty horrendous things this week. And again, it's many people are going to start to see through the lies, the stories, and the narrative that they try and tell about these events to cover them up or to blame others on why they had to, or blame others on why it happened. We're going to see the truth. And it's going to call more of us into this rise up courage energy. We've got Earth here, number 11 card, which again could speak to the Earth herself. but also just needing to stay grounded in your own energy this week. Just trying to think if I want to, I'm feeling torn about how to break the reading apart and what to dive into next, because as I said, this deck is calling me, but it's calling me for more the collective, probably world stage kind of energy reading, and I guess to some degree the collective. And I think it's going to be hard to dive into just the purely individual message without looking at the collective energy at the very least. So I'm going to go here next, and we'll see what wants to come through, and we'll clarify it a bit more when we go to those layers. Really strong messages. I shuffle these cards of, we're so supported right now spiritually, like, and something around Christ consciousness too. Like, it's here, it's supporting us right now. Spirit, thank you. All right. So what I'm actually going to do with these cards, the earth, the truth, and the courage, is use these to guide these cards to help me. So the earth is going to be earth herself. Truth is going to be the collective. Courage is going to be individual, and I'll actually use shadow as the world stage events, the devil energy that I was feeling. So let's start with the shadow. Spirit, what do we need to know about the shadow? And yeah, the shadow that's surfacing right now, the ocean. It's going to be tried to be kept hidden is immediately what's coming through there, like beneath the surface. What that one was. Any more, Spirit? Two more popped out and two are trying to stick out. Okay. So the one that flew was the cave. Definitely trying to hide things, aren't they? The siren, the prayer, and the desert. The other two that were sticking out that I'm going to put back in were the fault line and the stone. So it all will be revealed in time. So again, this was for the shadow card, which I was using as a representative of kind of the world stage events that are taking place and are going to continue to take place. We got the ocean and the cave. Which I'm just really getting is the things we're not seeing right now. Then we got the siren, the prayer, and the desert, which we had last week too. All right, I'm going to keep going because we'll come back to interpreting those when we go into that level of the reading. For Earth herself, Spirit, what do we need to know? What do we need to know for the week ahead for Gaia? Thank you. What do we need to know? The heart and the mentor. Shadow card in the split. And the seed. But that didn't come out, so I'll just see if there's anything more. I'm feeling like there probably isn't, but two more shuffles. One. Tried to come out but didn't come all the way. Gnosis and the judge. I'm not sure I've seen the shaman flipped over. Starborn at the bottom of the deck with that egg. So, as I said, for the Earth's energy herself, we've got the heart. How, like, this just keeps coming up for us, doesn't it, around Earth energy. The mentor, the owl seems really significant, and the shaman. She's got a lot to teach us this week. She sure does. maybe the truth, which is the next level. So this is the collective. Sorry, Spirit, I'm just gonna, that was storm on the top of that pile that just flipped. Oh, I can show you. Storm and the vision underneath, but I will let it come all the way out. Messages for the collective for the week ahead. Thank you, Spirit. Messages for the collective. Oh, can't see what that is. That's fallen down there. Messages for the collective for the week ahead. Two, the seed came back out. The seed of truth. Okay. The judge came back out too. Wow. Okay, let me just grab this card, which was the first one out. Apocalypsis. All right. Yeah. Buckle in, guys. This is going to be a big reading. All right. And lastly, for the Mind, Body, Soul transformation, collective individuals, what do we need to know? And I'm using the courage card for this because I do feel like as individuals, we're going to be asked to step into our courage this week. The venom. That was Eros, but it didn't come all the way out. The empty room. The venom, the empty room. The mystics at the bottom of the deck. Anything else, Spirit? Two more shuffles. Oh, that tried. The child tried to come out. So did the vessel, which I kept seeing in the shuffle. That was probably the two shuffles that I said I'd do. And the mystic back at the bottom of the deck. So the venom. And the empty room. For us as individuals this week. Okay, let's start there. I just want to point out, because I don't know if it will be mentioned, the venom card is actually on page 234, so it just seemed like a progression of something. You see that moon? That almost looks like it's rising from the ocean. The moon energy also represents what we don't see, which is what I was getting from the ocean and the cage over there. Coming face to face with what we've refused to see. And not the good things in the world. The toxicity, the poison. What I heard just then is the way things have been making us sick. And I really feeling like the empty room is choosing the courage to step into creating something new. But let's start with the venom card. 2, 3, 4. Poison. The curse and the toxin. So I was getting the right words. Curse. Let's just see what comes through. Much to our dismay, the venom is always lurking in the shadows in one form or another. Its toxic presence may be found in our relationships, thoughts, speech, or environment. Thankfully, the cycle of purification and detoxification comes so naturally that it is built into our every exhale. We breathe out carbon dioxide and the plants return it to us as oxygen. Something coming up for me around that last weekend. I'll see if I can remember what that was. Whew. It was like the breath of the earth, like the cycle of... Anyway, we'll come back to that. Archetypal venom is rarely remedied as easily, however, and it can come in potent forms and quantities that are deeply damaging to us and the world. When the venom card appears, there is harmful substance in our psychic realm that must be identified. Perhaps your words have a sting of poison about them. Perhaps a relationship is slowly draining your reserves. Acknowledgement is the first step. Change is the second, and the remedy will reveal itself in time and with forgiveness. It also says when you harm another, you harm yourself. Keep in mind this goes for our earth as well, with cosmic consequences. It says this card, when interpreted through the light, is self-realization through suffering. I really get this. Because of the way I view the world, I think it's hard to separate all of these levels out because the energy that happens on one affects the others. Within your own personal life, you might see things that have not been helping you, have not been serving you, and that you're needing the courage to step away from. And even if that means losing everything, stepping away from everything, releasing, softening, surrendering, and being prepared to build something completely new with the empty room here. I also think we will start to recognize this within our lives in other ways, not just the connections of our lives, but how the environment, the world we exist in, is full of things that haven't been serving us. And we might get that a bit through the collective level of this reading today. But even on the individual, that means making choices of waking up to those things and choosing, looking at how you can remove them from your life. And again, for some of those things, that will take courage. I don't think I'm going to read the empty room. We're going to go straight to the tarot. Seems we're going to the Muse Tarot today for this level. So this is individuals, you as individuals. Seven of Cups on the bottom there, which was one of those cards that came through in my meditation of confusion. You as individuals, what can you expect in the week ahead? 7 energy. So definitely there's it's going to not feel like it this week, but there is a lot of spiritual and cosmic support for us right now. They are here. The sun. And we might start to see that and recognize that. Chills as I say that. As I was starting this reading, I saw something just there and turned around thinking it must have been a reflection of the deck that I saw it near, but the deck that I saw it near doesn't actually reflect. And so, yeah, it also may be that you're starting to, we had the mystic out, didn't we, at the bottom of the deck, that those senses, we're starting to see more of the world around us that we haven't been able to perceive previously. One more. I'll shuffle. Eight of Wands, Eight of Inspiration at the bottom of the deck. We took that as marching forward the other day. That's also drawing my attention. I don't know if any of you saw, and I never dove into it, so I don't actually know what it was in the end, but there was lots of people reporting a second sun, a red sun, that was in the sky in a different place to the actual sun. I think it was maybe 2 weeks ago. Anyway, messages for the Mind, Body, Soul, Transformation Collective individuals for the week ahead. Thank you, Spirit. We've got the Three of Pentacles, just working together. It's an interesting card. Eight of Cups. Eight of Emotions in this deck. Two of Swords, but I think it was in reverse. I'm just trying to think about how I picked that up. The World at the bottom of the deck. And the Ten of Wands. Two ending chapters and a walking away. Two ending... Well, yeah, ending of chapters, possibly walking away. Split the deck to Seven of Cups from things that confuse you and that you've been blinded to until now. Like Two of Wands is being blind and at a crossroads of not knowing, kind of that path again of not knowing where you're going. But we're releasing the blindfold. We're starting to see, and we're going to make a choice of which path to choose. You can see they're blindfolded on the cards there. So we're releasing the blindfolds, we're releasing our hands being tied, that message from last week too, with those two hands in the middle. And we're stepping forward with the Eight of Cups here. Away probably from these things. Three of Pentacles was the first card out, so three of materials in this deck. It's a bit coming through. So typically Three of Pentacles means, you know, coming together with others, possibly with your soul family, to build something new, empty room. So as you step away from these things, finding community with those that can support you. Again, that takes me back to the message in the meditation where I was getting quite emotional around the awakening for people that haven't been doing this work and how they're going to struggle. It's like we're all going to come together through this and find a new way forward and thread our pieces together. This is also making me think of the remembering, actually, like the remembering, we're threading our rememberings together, coming together. Like that's the threading of all of our paths. Any advice for people this week, Spirit? Well, actually, I feel like we've already got advice. We're needing to walk away of the things that have been hurting us. We need to trust that we will come in to connection with people that can support us on that journey and that will help us build new things in our life. But this won't be easy. The kind of eclipse on this is drawing my attention. It might be worth looking back if you have been doing this work for a while, particularly if you work with the moon, at looking at the eclipses from earlier this year and thinking about what you were being called to release then, and if there's anything left that you still need to be doing in that space. These eclipses are definitely about release. What are we being asked to release, Spirit? What are we being asked to release this week? Well, starting this week. When I say week ahead energy readings, I'm very conscious that often this energy is quite big, and so there's a few things I want to say there. It's not ever going to happen in just the space of a week. But also sometimes it's the energy is there that week, but the physical manifestation of it doesn't happen till the weeks later. I've got the Queen of Wands and the Two of Wands. Six of Cups at the bottom of the deck, which is a Magician. Six of Cups is like a nostalgia, something from the past, often coming back in. But I asked, what do we need to release? And she doesn't look like she's happy about what she's holding on to, does she? So I think there's some inner child wounding here that we probably need to sit with and look at from the shadow aspect, but also there might be bits of our past that we thought would be with us forever. That might even be family connections that you're being asked to release. Then the other two cards that came out were the Queen of Wands and the Two of Wands, Queen of Inspiration and Two of Inspiration, which is, to me, tells us what we're actually being asked to do. It's what we spoke about last week, maybe, of like really stepping into the things that light you up. Queen of Wands is like that energy of like, this is what I'm passionate about and I'm stepping fully into my power and passion. And Two of Wands is that crossroads of choosing. Are you going to choose to stay comfortable, or are you going to choose the path of adventure? So again, just reiterating that message of we're being called to release the things that no longer serve us, to recognize that actually not only do they no longer serve us, they may actually have been poison and toxic to us and our experience within the world, and step boldly into the things that light us up, but possibly even just surrendering to, as we release these things, that's the path we're embarking on. 2-2 might be significant. Anything else you want individuals to know? That was a few that dropped out, but the sun was Knight of Wands flipped over, the sun's top of that. The sun, death, Six of Voices, and strength, and the High Priestess. Okay, we'll take them. Knight of Wands at the Empress. Four might also be significant for you. So we've got the sun, which came out before, death, ending for a new beginning, Six of Swords, which is leaving something difficult behind, moving to calmer waters, possibly. Really, that again, transition, change, strength, which just fits with that courage card that we already had, and the High Priestess, or it's called the Priestess in this deck. This week, you are going to see the things you need to leave behind, the things that need to end, that haven't been serving you. It is going to take strength. It is going to take following your intuition, but you are going to see it very, very clearly. And what you're walking into is a passionate new chapter that absolutely lights you up, that calls in connections that will allow you to rebuild something new and beautiful. And I know I've just articulated that all very positively. We do have the Death card here. We do have Venom card here. We do have the Two of Swords in reverse. Like, you are having to leave things behind, and that's never easy. And for some of you, that's going to take a lot of courage and a lot of strength. Yeah. And just know you're not alone, and that you will be supported. Okay. Next, we're going to move on to the collective level. Might see similar themes since we're talking still about us and our experience on the collective level. Often that's where I target these readings, but today felt like I needed to do a little bit different there. I got my cat tarot out today, and I didn't know why, but it seems that's for this level. Inside here, it's just drawn my attention. It says, open your mind and the answers will find you. So that is a message for somebody that needed to hear that. Actually, before we dive into the tarot, we're going to read these cards, because remember, we had the apocalypsis, the seed, and the judge. Judge. I'll finish shuffling these, and then we'll read those cards. Wheel of Fortune. All right, let's read this apocalypsis card. Remember, I used the truth card as the collective card, the one that came out, which is a 25 card. We saw 25, 25. This card is also on page 258. It's not a 25 card, but the first line of this card in the book says, removing the veil of deception. Apocalypsis indicates a particularly painful time, one that unfolds when two disparate dynamics occur simultaneously, pulling the psyche in seemingly opposite directions. The first is the lifting of the veil. This means truths that have been kept in the dark are revealed, seen, and unearthed. No matter how relieving it is to witness them come into light, an element of despair and grief follows. The second dynamic is the regeneration. We've got the seed card, remember. Regeneration that comes from the wreckage of the revealed truth. The old narrative breaks and a new story forms. Apocalypsis energy is similar to a forest fire's devastation for the sake of regeneration. Remember, I also had fire. Ooh, the veil lifts and we see who and what has been hiding. The shadows, the devil, the ocean, and the cave. They're trying to hide from us. From the nakedness of the truth, a child is born. Have faith in the process. Hold on to your center. That is the only way. I want to come back to this, but I just want to as I was shuffling the pocket archetypes deck, and I was saying we were really spiritually supported right now, Christ consciousness, there was a card, I don't know if I'm going to find it. There was a card that kept wanting to come out that was the vessel and the child, and they were the cards that made me think that. And I saw two videos yesterday on Instagram. I didn't know that happened. Oh my God. I saw two videos on Instagram yesterday. One was a psychic saying that they had had a vision of a child being born that was something to do with Christ consciousness, possibly reincarnation of Christ. I don't think that's what she said, but that was kind of the vibe of it, like the time is now. The other video I saw was a video of people in possibly England, I'm not quite sure where, somewhere over in Europe, that had gone to the streets to ask for Jesus to come back right now. And as I was shuffling these cards and kept seeing the vessel and the child, I kept thinking of Mary and Jesus. And that was the support I felt. I also feel there's cosmic support here, but that was really, it was like that, yeah, that support of Christ. I also saw the Father card, so it made me think God as well. But with this apocalypse card saying a child has been born, I don't want to ignore that. I mean, for me, where I have sat, and again, I don't hold on to truth, so I follow what comes through for me. Where I've sat is that the rise of Christ consciousness lives within us. But I just can't help, yeah, there's something there. Whether it is actually a child or it is that rising of Christ consciousness within us, I can't say that message isn't here today, because it 100% is. And I'm not familiar enough with the Bible or anything else to know what that means in terms of where we're at and what that means for us collectively. Again, I'm getting really emotional with that message, but I can't ignore it. Definitely something here. I kind of feel like I want to read this card again. Again, remembering I used the truth card that came out at the start as the collective card for us. We got Apocalypsis, the Seed, and the Judge. And I'm gonna read this again. Removing the veil of deception. Apocalypsis indicates a particularly painful time, one that unfolds when two disparate dynamics occur simultaneously, pulling the psyche in seemingly opposite directions. The first is lifting of the veil. This means truths that have been kept in the dark are revealed, seen, and unearthed. No matter how relieving it is to witness them come to light, an element of despair and grief follows. And that was the feeling that I was really getting of this mass awakening and of people, seeing the truth and it being so different to the reality that they've existed within. I think there's going to be a lot of struggle through this. The second dynamic is the regeneration that comes from the wreckage of the revealed truth. The old narrative breaks and a new story forms. Apocalypse's energy is similar to a forest fire's devastation for the sake of regeneration. The veil lifts and we see who and what has been hiding. From the nakedness of the truth, a child is born. Have faith in the process. Hold your center. That is the only way. I'll just read this little last part too. All kinds of things will be revealed during a time of apocalypse, from big global lies to little white ones that lace the bedroom sheets. Brace yourself for the horse of truth to storm your every field. Holy moly, this energy feels like a lot. It feels like I'm sorry, but feels like it's going to be a really hard week for so many people. I think for everyone. I was going to say for so many people, but I don't think anyone's getting through. And again, not just this week, but whatever is about to unfold. It's going to unravel so much of what we believed that people are really going to struggle. And it's all for a purpose. It's all, we do need to soften and surrender to it and trust that it is for our best and highest good. Like, I truly believe that. But I just have this overwhelming feeling of the grief people are going to feel as they grieve for the truth they've held on to their whole lives. That I can't understate that enough, how much is unraveling for us right now and how much it's going to just make us question everything. And it's going to be so important to come back in connection with ourselves and sit in what feels true for me and how can I find truth and safety and love within me, because things are coming crumbling down. But again, it's to allow us to sow the seeds of something new. So let's go on to the seed card. We're already at an hour recording, so boy oh boy. Okay, the seed. The beginning, the origin, the pearl. Beginnings come in many forms. They are not always a beautiful seed placed intentionally in nourishing soil. Origin stories, like any birth story, are complex, surprising, multi-layered, and usually reveal a central image or detail that represents the fully formed being. Simply stated, the end is present in the beginning, or the entire oak tree resides within the acorn. Whether you follow this imaginal theory or not, no.
Okay, I found this on the web for no. Check it out.
What is going on with technology today? Whether you follow this imaginal theory or not, know that when this card appears, there is a potent generative energy all around. It stirs your very insides and usually results in an antsy, impatient feeling. Pay particular attention to what agitates you, as it is a sure sign of growth to come. You are bumping up against a growth edge. It is from the grit that the pearl eventually comes to be. One final bit on this card, because actually see it's a pearl at the center there. One of the alchemist's favorite images was the pearl. The irritant over time becomes the treasure. What is your grit? So I think, to me, this is speaking to, as we really struggle with all that's taking place, this crumbling, and it rubs up against us and we feel anxious and agitated and all of the things, remembering that we are going to create something new and beautiful out of it. And lastly, we've got the judge card. The judge, the critic, the diplomat, the advocate. The judge has an incredibly important job. They work every waking hour of every day helping us discern what is safe, true, and just. When this archetype remains unconscious or is captivated by fear, wise discernment turns into painful judgment of self and other. Ironically, the judge's energy can be the seed of racism, bigotry, and fear-mongering. This is the judge out of balance, building walls, separating from other. When the same discerning force is made conscious and healed, however, the judge may be found advocating for civil rights causes, standing up for the underdog, providing resources for those in need, and forgiving again and again. Love is the deciding factor. Awakening this archetype is essential for the complex times we are in. Get your judge in order. The world needs it. Oneness. Oneness, oneness, oneness. The judge's energy is contagious. When we feel judged, walls go up all around. Similarly, when we feel accepted, the entire world softens. So we really are needing to look at the things, the stories, the narratives, the beliefs that exist within us that are resulting in division and judgment of others, judgment of ourselves. I also get the sense, and this is kind of the original message that came through this with this card, that the splitting of timelines, like this is what we need to do to choose the path that we all want to be on. Like if you're watching this channel, this video, you want, especially if you're watching an hour into it, the path you want to be on is the one of the light, the one of the new earth, the one of this rebuild. And kind of this is the moment where the work you do right now and how you respond to what is happening in the world, what is about to happen in the world, determines the path you are on. Okay, let's pull. So as I said, I'm going to use my Cat's Rule, the Earth Tarot deck, which I haven't used for a long time. My heart feels really heavy. Yeah. The Magician at the top of the deck, the poke down. I wouldn't usually look at that, but okay, let's see what wants to come through for the collective. Thank you, Spirit. Messages for the collective for the week ahead. Messages that are of the light and for the best and highest good of all. What do we need to know, Spirit? What do we need to know? Queen of Wands again. The Lovers. Temperance at the bottom. Divinely guided. This is collective, so I'm going to interpret it at the collective level. The Lovers is a Gemini card. We're in Gemini season right now. But it also obviously can speak to a love connection. Also can speak to a choice point. I'm just noticing, we had this the other day too, like they're at an apple tree and there's a snake in the apple tree. There's an Adam and Eve theme coming through again. I just had another phone call that for some reason cut off the reading. I'm hoping it saved because we're at an hour and something. Where I'm at is I'm pulling some tarot cards on the collective energy. We've done the oracle cards. We had the Queen of Wands and the Lovers coming out. I'm just going to see what else wants to come out and then we'll speak about that. Three of Cups. Celebration energy. Eight of Cups again. Emperor at the bottom of the deck. Temperance at the top. Interesting cards, considering what we had come out there. We're talking about the collective level. Yeah, so the message that's coming through for me here with like the passionate energy of the Queen of Wands, the celebration energy of the Three of Cups, and the choice of the Lovers, but also the love of the Lovers, is we get to choose right now what we're turning up for, how we're going to respond to this energy, what we're going to walk away and release. I mean, the Emperor is divine masculine energy, so it can be stepping into sacred action, but also I feel like when I looked at that as what we're walking away for, are we releasing hierarchical structures that no longer serve us? Maybe I'm going to clarify that with a different deck. It's just... I'm just going to go to my Lightseer's deck to clarify the Eight of Cups for the collective. Also, typically in the Eight of Cups, like we saw before, they're walking away from them, they're not looking at them, but this cat is looking at them. And the other thing I'm noticing about the cups is it's like a balancing act. Star at the bottom of the deck. Why is the Eight of Cups here, Spirit? Why is the Eight of Cups here? What is the collective releasing? The Fool, the Lovers. They're full cups too, actually. I just noticed I can see like the wine or whatever in them. Anything more? Eight of Pentacles. The Lover's still on the bottom of the deck. Judgment. Judgment. I can see the Magician poking out too. I'm just trying to piece this. We've got 8-8. I'm actually going to have a look in the book for the Cat Tarot, what it says, because the energy of the Eight of Cups card here is giving me a different feeling from the imagery. I'm not saying different though. Letting go, transition, changing direction. The 8 is not a comfortable card. It implies that you know change is necessary, but you are not quite sure how to go about achieving it. A relationship or friendship may have run its course, or the needs of others are proving too great of a burden. The best choice may be to walk away, even if that means giving up what has been achieved thus far. Because I'm getting with this card some hesitate, like it's, as I said, the cat's not looking away from the cups, and so it's like we're looking back at what we've built and knowing we need to release it, or knowing it's about to go crumbling down with the Apocalypsis card. The truth is going to spill out, but it's like, it's that hesitation of, is this really happening? Does this really have to happen? The choosing. Are you going to stay? You have a choice. You have a choice. You can stay or walk away. I wouldn't recommend you stay, but you do have a choice. You can stay in the dark. You can stay not seeing the truth. You can stay within what you have built, what is being built around you. Ultimately, that stuff doesn't actually serve you, but I get that you think it does. All the work you've put into it, it's hard to walk away. But you also have the choice of a new beginning. But it will take total surrender, because you don't know. You do not know. We do not know where this path leads. Some of us have a beautiful intuition about it, but it is up to us to build that. Like, spirit chills as I say that. We get to make this what we want it to be. But you also do get to stay stuck in this. You have the choice. The choice to step into a new beginning that's based on passion, on love and joy. Or to stay in the familiar, in the comfortable, in the things you've put work and effort into, because because you don't want to face a new beginning or the truth right now. I'm going to ask, for those of you that choose to stay in the past or in the current maybe, what will happen? For those, Spirit, for those that choose to stay and not move on, not release, not surrender to a new beginning, stay in the dark, what can they expect? What can they expect, Spirit? What can they expect? I don't think it's going to be good. You might feel like you're gripping onto security, but my third eye is burning. Usually it buzzes, but right now it's burning. I get a real lonely vibe for the Five of Wands card, which typically is like a conflict kind of card. But I just, yeah, like it's literally sitting there with a skeleton, a skull. Not a cat skull, a human skull. Conflict is the order of the day, especially in the world of work. This doesn't have to be a bad thing. Competition can spur you on to greater things, and challenge may force a useful rethink, a mental straightening out. But this card counsels caution. It is possible that everyone is merely playing pointless mind games. Again, you have free will. I think the people that choose to stay in the dark are going to feel like they've made the right choice, the successful choice. But they will feel increasingly challenged, lonely, and they will ultimately see the cups fall over and not recognize if they just had have turned around. There is a heart-led beginning behind them. Any advice for those that choose to awaken to the truth, Spirit? Advice or insights for those that choose to awaken to the truth? I'm not sure you need anything. Like, we've got a new beginning that we're going to build that's based in passion, love, and joy. But anyway, let's see. One more. No. Okay. Let's really hope that other video saved. But let's keep going. I'm going to go on to the Earth herself now. I'm going to use my Earth Woman Tarot. Yeah. I stayed in there. What was that? The Empress. Of course she did. Three of Swords. Interesting. All right. So I'll shuffle these and then, yeah, we'll go to the pocket archetypes. Remember, we had the Heart, the Mentor, and the Shaman for the Earth card, which was talking about Earth herself. And yeah, actually I'm going to look up. Remember, I had bubbling to the surface. That's where Earth came in my meditation. Then I got something about volcanoes, also something about Sri Lanka, and the elephant and the homeland is what came through, actually. The homeland. So I'm not really sure, but okay, so before we jump into these cards, the Heart, the Mentor, and the Shaman, I just wanted to look up Sri Lanka, and I think I'm going to look up, I'll add elephant into this shortly, and maybe homeland, but a couple of interesting things that came through. Definitely linked with sacred Buddhist energy, but there's something actually later that's more interesting to me there. A portal of divine feminine energy and Lemurian lineage is believed. It says that many intuitives and light workers connect Sri Lanka with ancient Lemurian energy. Some believe it to be a remnant or energetic sisterland of Lemuria, carrying crystalline codes of heart-centered living, sacred union, and harmony with nature. The other thing that I found really interesting is ChatGPT called it the Pearl of the Indian Ocean, remembering that we had the pearl here. Often referred to as the teardrop of India, Sri Lanka's shape and positioning are symbolically tied to compassion, heart release, and emotional transmutation. Some esoteric traditions consider Sri Lanka part of the Earth's energetic meridian system. It may function like a minor chakra or energetic node that balances heart and solar plexus frequencies in the planetary body. We got the heart. And then this part I actually found quite interesting. Even though it hasn't come out here, there's two things here that I found quite interesting. Is that it says there's sites in Sri Lanka that are worshipped by multiple faiths, symbolizing unity, consciousness, divine devotion, and transcending of religious boundaries, which I think is a big part of kind of this shift and crumbling that I was talking about, even in the spirituality piece of how maybe has religion kept us separate from each other, kept us divided, and are we actually going to start to see some of that truth and come together and recognize the common themes that might exist within the truth that we start to recognize. And then because the snake in the apple tree came through before, I'll share this as well. It says pilgrims of various faiths climb the sacred mountain, which is Adam's Peak or Shripada. Pilgrims of various faiths climb this sacred mountain, believing it to be the place where Adam first stepped after being cast out of Eden. Again, my third eye is going crazy. Or where Buddha left a footprint. It is a cosmic symbol of descent and return, reminding us of our divine origins. Many visitors describe an intuitive call to the land, this is just Sri Lanka generally, to shed the old, awaken memory, and realign their soul paths. The island has a way of revealing what is hidden and inviting deep inner transformation. Just looked up the elephant part, and there's lots in here that probably is fairly self-explanatory, so I don't need to go into it too much. But it does say in Sri Lanka, elephants are viewed as carriers of sacred energy, embodying the strength of the earth and the presence of the divine. There's reference to how elephants are viewed across different cultures and religions, including the elephant-headed god Ganesha that's worshipped across Sri Lanka by both Hindus and Buddhists. He is the remover of obstacles, the patron of new beginnings, and the guardian of sacred thresholds. Many intuitive traditions believe that elephants are keepers of collective memory, both of the earth and of our soul's journey, and being in the presence of elephants can stir cellular remembrance of past life, spiritual vows, and a time when humans lived in deeper harmony with nature. They are bridges between the human and the divine, the past and the future, the earth and the sky. To encounter an elephant in Sri Lanka is often described as a soul awakening moment, a call to remember your place in the web of life. This is coming from ChatGPT, so I always read this information with caution. I looked up Homeland. There's a lot here, including about Lemuria, so I'll probably pull out my Lemuria deck as well. But it does say some souls feel as if Sri Lanka is not just a homeland of the past, but one of the future, a seed land of the new earth, a place where soul-led communities, earth-honouring ways, and sacred unity will take root again. If you feel called to this land, you may be a guardian of the new, holding codes for what is to come through your remembrance of what once was. A call to remember, reconnect, and return to something primal, sacred, and deeply alive within you. A land that asks nothing of you, yet gives you everything when you listen. Okay, I'm hoping this is still recording because it's saying 00 on the timer. Let's go to these cards. The Heart, 168. The Home, the Center, the Throne, the Homeland. It is possible from an imaginal point of view to sense the heart as a place. Either we are there within the realm of expansion and compassion, or we have drifted somewhere else. There is no in between. It is common for us to leave this archetypal center without realizing it, as the world, with its seductive twists and turns, offers us frequent departure. We may even become a stranger to the landscape of the heart, leaving it vacant for long stretches of time. The seat of the heart is often reclaimed by nature, music, dance, and the presence of children or animals. This card encourages you to move past the layers of life's tangles and knots and enter the wild and sacred center of the self. The most precious throne in the galaxy is awaiting your return. I'm not going to read the mentor and the shaman. With the Sri Lanka piece and all that just came through there, and I don't think this needs to be Sri Lanka for all of you, I feel like people are getting called to visit parts of the earth to connect with themselves, to connect with their remembering, to connect with mentors, but maybe not mentors. Like, it's like the earth is our mentor right now. She has to offer us what we need, and we need to follow the intuitive calling of connecting with her energy. And that may be through travel, or that may just be through active meditation and sitting with her energy, connecting with her heart. It's maybe astrocartography is something that's worth looking into. I haven't done it, but that came up in a feed of mine yesterday on a different video. It's like, if you can connect with the earth in whatever way you're being called right now, there is an awakening that exists within you, a remembering that's going to come online through that connection. I thought we were talking about Earth's energy herself, but this isn't. This is our connection with Earth. Okay, Spirit, what do we need to know as it relates to the Earth? The Fool again. Strength. Death. 3 major arcana, and the Hermit at the bottom of the deck. The Fool, Strength, and Death. We've had those cards already in the 2 earlier readings. She's calling us on a new adventure into our strength, our connection with her, like that. And we've got, our remembering of her strength, of our strength, and our connection. And that, I think, to me, this card is saying a few things. It's saying that we're ending our disconnection with her, like that. It's the ending of that for the rebirth of our connection with her. But also a reminder that every ending that comes through actions of hers or the decisions we make from the last 2 parts of this reading brings in a new beginning, and that she is supporting us with that. I guess I feel like I'm looking for an Earth event, but it feels like that's not what's important right now. What's important is us finding the time to go on our own sacred pilgrimage, is the word that's coming through, and so many spirit chills as I say that. That's gonna connect us to our magic and our wisdom and our heart's truth. Is there anything else you want us to know there, Spirit? Anything else? Don't think so. One more. What's that card? 6 of Pentacles. Coming back into balance with her. We might be the events this week. I do think there is a big Earth event coming our way, bigger than we've seen so far. But right now we're actually, she's here today to tell us to connect with her, to follow the calling, whatever the sacred pilgrimage is for you. Wow, how beautiful is that? Okay, so much for one video, because now we're take 3 or 4, I think. Now we're going to end with the shadow, which to me was what's playing out on the world stage. As I said somewhere at the start of this video, just as I jumped on to record this week ahead energy reading, it was announced that Israel has started bombing Iran, and that seems obviously is continuing to play out. There's obviously the stuff happening in the States this week, and actually similar kind of energy all across the world. Before we go into this, I just want to reiterate the part from my meditation of peace versus war, dove versus devil energy, the devil energy being embedded in deceit versus your intuition, the 7 of Cups, 7 of Swords energy, lies, confusion, deceit. But we will be seeing through the lies, the stories, the narrative, which will lead to our awakening. I've definitely got the sense of a match being lit. Mars is squaring Uranus today. And I feel like this is all feeding into this. So the original card, the Sacred Symbols card that I used for this energy, that came out for this energy, was the shadow. So it is facing the collective shadow. We then got the ocean and the cave, which intuitively came through to me as they're really trying to hide what's going on right now. They're really, whilst they're amping up what they're gripping on to trying to hide it and keep it covered up and keep control of the narrative and what we're believing. We then had the desert card, which we had last week. I've got chills immediately as I say this. I'll read this one again. The moon and the moon in that, which almost looks like a moon and a star, was drawing my attention. Anyway, we'll read that one again. And then we have the siren and the prayer. And when I'm almost getting the actual siren, like the sounding of it, like the sounding of an alarm from this, but we will see what comes through there. And the prayer, and to me, the prayer is circling back to that energy that has come through a few different layers of this reading, of this rising of Christ consciousness. So let's start there and see what comes through. We'll start with the ocean and the cave first. The other thing I'm noticing on a lot of these cards is, just today, it's just the Apocalypsis card, I think. What I can see, looks like it's got an eye in the middle. And then this ocean card looks like it's got an eye too. The ocean, the unconscious, the depths, the incomprehensible. The power of the ocean is unmatched. To step into its salty waters is to step into the unknown. By its sheer volume, the ocean represents the unconscious, all that is beyond our understanding. We cannot live within the ocean. We cannot claim it, manage it, or own it. It rejects our every attempt to dominate nature. Yet, amid its overwhelming power, it calls us, inspires us, and invigorates our life on land. It dissolves the little us into the big us. When the energy of the ocean is present, there is change stirring that is beyond any change you've known before. The ego must dissolve. The saline swells work on your very cells, your fibers, your deepest underlying beliefs. Like Aphrodite, we rise from the ocean's froth, a new being. Life is change. Let the wave crash. Let's read this other part. The ocean displays every emotion without shame. To witness its glory, moonlit surface, and its unforgiving storms is to know the full spectrum of the human experience. All right, and then the cave, the dark, the portal, the interior. Oops, sorry, that's the wrong way around. Those who are fortunate enough to find and enter the cave are forever changed. It is a place of potent power, acting both as a portal to another realm and a space for sacred ritual and initiation. The cave is a place to return for meaningful retreat, where one can see the true self in the darkness. In esoteric teachings, the cave is known to reside in the center of the heart. Within its walls, the whispers of compassion and self-understanding can be heard. Yet, because of its mystery and power, many of us fear the cave and never try to find it. We busy ourselves in the bright lights of the city while the cavernous and dimly lit chambers call out to us at night. Where is your cave? You already know. Return to it and tend its fire. I still am strongly getting like hiding things being hidden. Now, as I said, we had the desert last week. The desert, the drought, the wasteland, the badlands. The desert leaves us disorientated, desperate for direction, grasping for meaning, longing for solid ground. For endless miles, we are confronted with a lack of clarity and existential dread. We are thirsty, hungry, pleading with life to get back to normal, to become animated by the simple pleasantries of day-to-day life. The desert offers no such comfort, and all must pass through it. If you can embrace the discomfort of the desert, knowing that you will someday reach water again, you can tap into the potent energy of the landscape. Its lights are blindingly bright and its darks terrifyingly deep, which makes for unbridled creativity and clairvoyant visions. Truth resides in the desert that otherwise remain hidden. The crows, the shadows, the coyotes call surround you. The winds and the sands work their deep magic, weary traveler. The desert is alive and pulsing with energy. Despite its desolate appearance, turn toward it rather than away from it. Surreal, strange, unexpected visions, silence. I do feel like this card has reference to a location. I'm not entirely sure where that location is right now, but the other thing I think it's speaking about is kind of this energy of, you know, all it describes it exists within the desert, but if we're able to move through it and choose to face it, choose to face the truths, choose the path, kind of that free will piece that we had around that truth section, we will get through the other side and find an enjoyable life again. There's no point holding on to what we're currently doing. I do kind of feel like that's true, but I don't want to say that in a way that implies you don't have free will, because we've already gone through that part. But we're talking about the shadow of the world stage right now. So they're hiding what they're doing. Little do they know that as we walk through what's taking place, many of us will recognize the truth. We will continue to persist through the desert, through the apocalypses, and come face to face with the truth, face to face with what they've been trying to hide. All right, the siren. The temptress, the seducer, the femme fatale. The siren calls and the world spins. What we thought we wanted pales in comparison to the sweet allure of her song. We find ourselves lost in a spell of desire and longing, perhaps even lust. Whether the thing calling to us is ultimately good or bad is somewhat irrelevant. It's the journey that matters. And the work of the siren is to take us on a deep psychic descent. Following her song, we go down, 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 to a place where lessons are learned and courage must be rallied to find our way back to dry land. Try as we might, resisting the call may not even be an option. Unless, like Odysseus, we bind our hands to the mast of our ship, it's likely, though, that falling for her call is the only way we will come to live more fully on the surface. Awakened sensuality, absorption, and arousal. Embodying the siren archetype requires that we explore things that are taboo. The siren laughs at conventions and constraints. She eats rules. Trinity of temptation. Okay, there's a bit coming through here. One is needing to go deep down into our collective shadows and actually face what's there. Like, they're trying to hide them, but we have access to them as we walk through the desert right now. We need to be willing to actually see what has been going on. And all of that feeds back into this idea of how challenging this is going to be to start to recognize some of the truths that have been hidden from us in plain sight. Other words that want to come through. It's like this has been in front of our face the whole time, but we've been so blindsided by the narrative and the stories that we see the world through one way, and this is shifting how we see the world, and it's gonna, we're coming face to face with it. But we need to be willing to go deeper and deeper and deeper and look at what exists there, shine light on the shadow of society, because we've already been doing that for ourselves. And by society, I mean the darkest parts of society, because that's what it feels like. This is the energy that we're speaking about. The other thing here, though, I think is the juxtaposition of these two energies as we navigate this. And it's a bit similar to what I was just talking about, the desert, and even when we're talking about the Eight of Cups card that we had before versus making the choice to walk a new path and to release the past. It's like, it's almost as if I'm just going to call them the shadow for now. Like these dark parts of the world that have been in control for a long time are going to create a temptation that looks good on the surface, that is tempting, that will appear to relieve some of this distress that these events are going to, that being in the desert, that being in the apocalypse is going to make us feel. And it's like, if you come down this path, this is the life you get to live. We're here to save the day kind of energy is actually what I'm getting. But I'm really strongly getting the message that it's really important to, same thing, to ground yourself, to connect with your intuition, and to really ask, do I really understand the shadow enough to know that this is the right path to choose? Or could it be more of something that we don't want? More venom. Another way for them to control, another way for them to have power and influence and hoard resources and all of these things. Like, what are the narratives, the new narratives that they're putting forward with this idea of security and safety for us that actually aren't serving the greater good? That's really strong. And then we've got the prayer, which seems like the other option. It's like, you can choose temptation, or you can choose to connect with your intuition, your truth, and let's all come together and pray and build a beautiful new world that is for the best and highest good of all. But I will read the prayer to us as well. And then we'll pull some tarot cards on that. And then we'll wrap up the longest reading in the history of the channel. 238. The prayer. The worship, the reverence, the homage. What is prayer? When are we in a state of prayer and when are we not? To whom or what do we pray?
Okay, I found this on the web for what is prayer. When are we in a state of prayer and when are we not? To who or what?
I thought my phone was ringing, so I looked over it, but actually it's someone banging something. Anyway, Siri answered these questions that this card is posing to us. To whom or what do we pray? Archetypally, the practice of prayer has been with us since the dawn of time, as a remedy for the omnipresent self-centered thinking that spins us towards illusion. Prayer leads us beyond our ego, as we move from our little story to the big one. Some say we are in a state of prayer anytime we are not the center of our own thoughts. Others say prayer is a natural result of gratitude. Perhaps it is simply surrender or service. Whatever prayer is for you, this card reminds us of its importance. Get quiet, low, humble, and soft. Bow and touch the ground as your heart lifts to the sky. Though it may be uncomfortable, it is time. Nothing else will do. Asking for guidance is the other words on this card that's calling out to me. So if you do have your own practices around prayer or connecting with your guides, connecting with divination tools of different modalities, ask for guidance. The other thing I'm going to look up is the desert prayer. And the reason I'm going to look that up is these two cards both have hands sticking up. And when I read that as the desert prayer, that sounds familiar to me. So let me see if that's actually a thing. And then we'll go to... Wow, it actually is, isn't it? Oh my gosh. The desert prayer, or more specifically the Jesus prayer, is a simple, repetitive prayer that was developed in the desert monasteries of Eastern Christianity. It's a method of staying in prayer with a focus on God's presence rather than thoughts or feelings about God. The prayer typically uses the phrase, Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me. The prayer emerged in early centuries of Christianity in the desert monasteries of Palestine and Africa. Remember how I was saying this? I'm getting chills on this one. This card to me, was speaking to a location. We'll pull some tarot cards soon. There was something that came through for me earlier that now is not feeling. And actually, I put a post up about it because I felt. I'm going to speak to it now. There's the, what's the word? Convoy of people, beautiful, heart-led people that are trying to make it to Gaza right now to deliver aid in big numbers. And I shared a post of that this morning and said we need to be praying for them and surrounding them in light and protecting them, because I don't feel this. I'm not going to say I don't feel they're safe, because I'm hoping we can protect them. And maybe this is this part here. I feel like the shadow, the whatever we want to call them, the elites, all of the names that the people that have been controlling us for a long time, they don't have good intentions. And that came through really strongly for me this morning. And so now, when we've got this prayer emerged in early centuries of Christianity in the desert monasteries of Palestine and Africa, which they're marching through, Africa to get to Palestine. It's a way to cultivate a constant state of prayer known as prayer without ceasing, according to Christian tradition. The prayer involves repeating a short phrase like, Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me, with full meaning. The prayer aims to bring a person into God's presence rather than dwelling on thoughts or feelings about God. Prayer mindfully attends to the presence of God amid our darkest nights. There is also a prayer for the deserts. I'm just reading this. It's based on Isaiah 58. It says, Dear Father, today I'm choosing to break the chains of darkness, to loosen the ropes of burdens that I don't have to carry, to embrace freedom in Jesus Christ. God, I'm asking for your guidance. How I need your light to show me the way. I need your righteousness to go before me. I need your glory to protect my back. Only you can satisfy in dry desert land. Only you can provide the strength I need. Would you show me where you want me to serve? Make me a spring that never runs dry. Give me wisdom to rebuild and restore, that I might be called your servant, the repairer of broken walls. I think there's probably parts in there for some of us too, but it really is, with what I had before coming of this rising of Christ consciousness, it's like there's two things here. It's us really needing to connect with that within ourselves and the presence of that. And even as I'm reading, and this won't be what that meant, but even as I'm reading that, of this prayer being not a connection with God, but the presence of God around us, it's that shifting of God and Jesus being outside of us, but actually that existing within us. And I'll pull some tarot cards on the other stuff that was coming through, because so I pulled them off the shelf for a reason, didn't I? So let's see. I'm using the Fifth Spirit Tarot deck for this section. I also got out my Native American cards, which I might actually use, split it to the full. I might use those just to get maybe a message around what's going on in America right now too. Gosh, there's so much going on in the world. It's pretty scary. Strength I just saw as well. Full in the strength. What's the other one? Forgetting, like trying to see the three cards that were just out here before. Full, the strength, and no, it's gone. Forgot. Oh, death. A fool's journey. Oh gosh, I don't have a good feeling about this convoy. I'm just going to say it. I genuinely don't have a good feeling about that. But if that happens, and I want us all to pray that that doesn't happen, I think it might be the thing they can't hide. They can't hide their involvement in it. And that will absolutely make us start to see through the narratives and stories that we've been told and go deeper and deeper into the hero's journey. All right, let's start. I feel angry. All right, Spirit, just overall with regards to this shadow energy that is having its last hurrah, what do we need to know? What do we need to know? The dark powers. I heard immediately they're losing their power. And they know it. That's why they are frantically trying to hide it up, cover it up, but also that's why we're seeing what's happening across the world. What do we need to know, Spirit? What do we need to know for the week ahead? Whoa. 5 of Cups. Interesting imagery. Hanged man at the bottom of the deck. Hanged one. Tied up underwater. And there's water on this too. I'm getting flood vibes, if I'm honest. Let's just see what else wants to come out. What do we need to know? Spirit, can you tell us a bit more? What else with this 5 of Cups? What else do we need to know? What else do we need to know? Yeah, 6 of Wands. I've got the moon card on the bottom of the deck, and it's actually like they're trying to like they don't want me to tap into this. And the 2 cards that came out were the King of Wands and 7 of Pentacles, which is like putting in work, but for some reason the P's made me think peace. It's like these people, this isn't the shadow, these are the people marching towards peace, like the riots, the let's build a world based on peace. High Priestess sitting under the moon. So let's just see. 5 of Cups. We've had the 5 of Cups already today because it was like that idea of you can focus. It was when we were talking about the free will and how the people that chose to stay in their comforts and weren't ready to face the truth would be looking at the cups spilling over, everything that they've built falling apart, they're crumbling down, versus turning around and seeing the other option. But that's not, actually it is kind of the visual here, because we've got 3 of Cups that are broken or upside down, and then we've got the 2 of Cups there. But it really is this like, it's the house in the water that's, why is the 5 of Cups here, Spirit? Why is the 5 of Cups here? That was the Fool that just split open to allow whatever the card High Priestess. Judgment, a bit more right kind of energy. 5 of Wands, 5, 5. That's the 5 of Cups here, Spirit. What do you want us to know about this card in particular? Where's the 5 of Cups here? Okay, thank you. More water energy on the... So 2 of Swords came out reversed, which we've already had exactly like that. It's like finally opening our eyes and realizing what we've been blind to. We've got the Moth there, which is, yeah, transformation can be death and rebirth kind of energy too. And then 8 of Swords came out upright, which is us not recognizing that we actually have had the power the whole time and releasing ourselves like this. Like, these are scissors. I think we've had this card before when we use this deck. These are scissors that are wrapped up by tissue paper, I don't know, ribbon. Regardless, they can cut themselves free, and they've chosen not to. And people are rising and going, hey guys, let's free ourselves from this. And we're finally recognizing we're able to release ourselves from this. 9 of Pentacles also came out, which I think goes with like they don't want us to see there's another way that actually is going to bring in everything that we need. For everybody. I don't know why I got Last Supper just then too. Got High Priestess back on the bottom of the deck. They're really... and split to Hanged One again. And the Fool. Yeah, they really don't want... they don't want me going deeper. So we might ask some different questions. What will this siren be, Spirit? What will this siren be? That didn't come out. It just tried to stick out. What will this siren be? What will this siren be, Spirit? What will this siren be? I feel like this deck isn't wanting to talk. Do you want to change decks? Or is it just the energy trying to block me? Split to the Temperance that time, which is quite interesting imagery. What is going on? Okay, I'm going to go back to... where is it? There. I'm going to just go back to my Lightseer deck. See if it has more to offer us. Let's just go in. Let's just ask, what are they hiding? With the Ocean and the Cave here, what are they hiding from us? 4 of Swords came out, which has that red thread on it. Like, how's everything connected? 6 of Swords. Anything else, Spirit? What are they hiding from us? Another boat. Ace of Wands. Anything else, Spirit? Ace of Wands came out in reverse. Judgment. Ah. Judgment's just fallen to the ground. 6 of Pentacles, 9 of Wands. Lovers again, 4 of Wands. With the Ace of Wands coming out like this, and I immediately just got like they don't want us to know that we can we have a choice. We can heal ourselves on the collective level. We can move into calmer waters, that everything is connected. We are all connected. We can bring things into balance. What is the link with the desert prayer, Spirit? Why is the desert here? Why is the desert here? Why is the desert here? I feel like I need to go to my shadow archetype deck. Why is the desert here? Anything? One more shuffle. Queen of Swords. Two of Swords again. And King of Swords at the bottom. Ten of Cups. Nine of Pentacles and a Fool. I am going to go to my shadow archetype deck again. Why is the desert here, Spirit? Why is the desert here? Why is the desert here? Why is the desert here? One more. Gratitude. Psychic. Good fortune. New life. Gratitude. I can feel I'm being blocked from what the actual message is. With this, which is what came out first, we've got the Two of Swords upright this time, so we're not seeing something. I get this like real warrior vibe from this. You know what? I've always thought she was sailing on the ocean. And I'm recognizing now she's up above mountains, I think. Higher perspective. We're not seeing the higher perspective. And the higher perspective is gratitude. Whether it be this situation that I was just talking about or this situation, and I will pull some cards on that shortly, or maybe whatever this is, if it's not related. There are souls that came here right now to be warriors, to take action, to protect the heart of humanity and the world. And it's going to be hard to see based on how this plays out that was their soul mission. And ultimately that should push us into huge gratitude for these souls, including the ones that have been in horrendous situations, circumstances, or lost their lives up to this point. But not especially, and as we move through this period where really people do rise up, for us to sit in absolute gratitude to them and commitment to continuing that work in our own ways, to fighting our own fights, and to moving this world forward into something, again, to creating a pearl out of a situation that's quite rough. So Nine of Pentacles come out when I asked about the siren. Don't think so. I'm gonna... what deck do I want to use? I feel like I want to go back to this. Spirit, can you give me more on why the siren's here? What's the siren? What is the siren going to be? This temptation. What is this siren or this temptation? Knight of Cups, which I did see before actually, which I think was when I was asking about the siren, and something else came out at the same time. They're way too many. The Sun, Death again, Four of Cups, Three of Cups, Five of Wands, Three of Pentacles. Anything more about this iron? Just maybe one or two more cards. What is this temptation? I'm just kind of getting this like fun, heart-led Knight of Swords, King of Cups. It's almost as if something will be offered that will quickly just something. I don't think it will quickly pull us out of the chaos, but it's offered in a way that implies it will quickly just make us disconnect from how awful the world is. Like I'm getting that idea of when you like scroll social media to disconnect from what's happening in your life, and maybe it is something like that. AI technology of some description, like it's maybe not an obvious thing like we might have thought about that in the past. Of like I'm almost, the thing that's coming to my mind is like the world's falling apart, let's give you all what's the word, I want to say bonus, but like a lump sum injection to like make you all happy with what's going on and get you back on our team kind of thing, which could be something like that. But I'm almost getting like temperance and justice. I'm almost getting like it's something that will distract us. It's like not even posed as an alternative, it's something to distract us. This image really reminds me of the images out of Palestine and Gaza. And then we've got justice underneath that. And the Chariot. Temperance, justice, and the Chariot. The Desert card. There's something really big around the Desert card. It is being blocked from coming through. I think we just need to keep praying for the people that are rising up right now, praying for each other, even if you're not someone that prays, and remembering the presence of God and Jesus, really, truly, because that's come through so powerfully. This reading is around us. Is there anything else you want us to know about this spirit? Anything else you want us to know? Anything else you want us to know? That's easier. What else you want us to know? The Page of Swords was just there. And I was getting, again, something about social media. Hiding the truth. There's something in it. I mean, they've taken the internet out already. But is something going to fill our feeds to distract us so that we don't look at the truth? I mean, they're not going to hide it. The truth was elsewhere in this reading. They're not going to achieve what they're trying to do right now. Doesn't mean they're not going to try. So I asked, what else do you need us to know? I've got the Two of Pentacles, Five of Swords. I don't know why. With this Two of Pentacles card, I'm getting a real peace vibe again. And there's not actually anything on there that's peace. Two of Pentacles is like kind of a balance kind of, balance kind of card. Bringing things into balance, which I guess we had the Justice card before with the Temperance card. So, you know, there's definitely peace energy around. So with this Five of Swords, immediately I heard like putting the swords down, which is not Five of Swords energy, but yeah, I'm getting putting the swords down, like laying the swords down. And then King of Swords, with her holding the those things called, whatever that thing is called, and the sword being the truth. It's like we need to start speaking the truth. As we realize the truth, we need to start speaking the truth and sharing the truth, because they're really going to try and stop that. And they can't stop us all. That's the whole point of this convoy, is they can't stop. If we all come together and do this, they can't stop it. But we need to move from a place of love. Yes, we do. Okay, that's such a long one, and this last piece is really knocked me about a bit, actually. So I'm gonna go recoup my energy and maybe dive into some of the themes that came through here, the messages that came through here, because some were quite interesting and pretty powerful. Thank you for those of you that stuck around for this whole reading. It was definitely big. I'm definitely feeling not great right now. But I really appreciate you. And just remember, this is all serving the greater good. Stay in gratitude, and let's actually do this. It's not gonna be easy. But it is time. Okay. Bye everyone.